It's better than trinkets, games, or toys. So say all the little girls and boys.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Elder Scrolls Detective series. My name's Camel, and today I have found a very Christmassy case for us to investigate, involving Tamriel's version of Santa Claus and narcotic overdoses of Moonsugar. The combination of the two just boils up those Christmassy vibes. Now, is there anywhere that resembles the North Pole more than Solstheim in Tamriel? I think not. But at the best of times, Solstheim is treacherous and unforgiving, unwelcoming and only inhabitable by the hardest and harshest types. But with its frosty exterior and personality, it does bring many interesting and wonderful mysteries. And for this one, we're going to go back to the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind's Blood Moon expansion. And to begin this journey, we're going to head to Fort Frostmoth, the first Imperial settlement on the very southern tip of the island of Solstheim. Now, as there is limited voice acting in the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, you'll have to bear with me doing the voices. However, inside Fort Frostmoth, there is a lady named Severia Gratius, and when we speak to her, ask your questions, but be quick, Camel. I'm quite busy with the Moonsugar Investigation. Moonsugar Investigation. You're new to Fort Frostmoth, so I guess you haven't heard. Over the past couple of months, several people across Solstheim have been poisoned with moonsugar. Someone has been slipping it into their food and wine. They experience temporary euphoria and then complete exhaustion. I've been charged with finding the culprit and bringing him to justice. Recently, our cult priest Jeleen was poisoned, so it is now officially an Imperial matter. Imperial matter? If it were just the locals, the Empire couldn't be bothered. But now one of our own has been affected. Last week, our cult priest was stricken with moonsugar euphoria after drinking some wine. I don't have the manpower to deal with this problem, but my superiors are getting impatient. He wants the culprit dead. I know you're not a member of the Imperial Legion, but I'd like to hire you to help in the investigation. I'll make it worth your while. Are you interested? I'll help you, Severia. Just tell me what you need done. It's simple, really. I want you to kill the man responsible for the moonsugar poisonings. Jeleen, our cult priest, was the most recent victim, and he actually caught a glimpse of the culprit. It was a man wearing, oddly enough, a unique white Colovian fur helm. Bring me this white helm, and I'll know the deed is done. Now go, speak to Jeleen at the cult shrine here in Fort Frostmoth before you depart. He has some more information. So now let's go and speak to the Imperial cult priest, Jeleen. Hello, Camel. I heard you've been speaking to Severia Gratius about the Moonsugar Investigation. I'll do whatever I can to assist you, of course. Moonsugar Investigation. Yes, I too was stricken with moonsugar euphoria. It was just last week, after a cult service. I sat down to some wine, and moments later realized something was wrong. I am a law-abiding man, Camel, and have never experienced anything so free in all my life. The laughing, the dancing, it was horrible. And then, as I drifted off, I saw him. A strange man, old and frail, certainly no Nord, wearing a white Colovian fur helm. But even stranger was his silly song. Silly song. It's rather embarrassing, really. I mean, I was deeply affected by the moonsugar, and I'm not even sure I can trust my own recollections. But, well, I heard singing. It was a very strange tune, more like a nursery rhyme. Something you'd sing to a child, maybe. I only caught a little of it. Something about a workshop in the snow, and lanterns all aglow. And I remember something about candy. Oh yes, and there were lots of hee-hee-hees and ha-ha-hoes. It's all so absurd, I know. So some very interesting lead-up information or pretext as to what we're going to find in this Christmas-themed investigation. And with no hint of direction or where to look other than just Solstheim in general, this tall tale of a man walking around with a giant white Colovian fur helmet, putting moonsugar into people's food and wine, singing about candy, snow, workshops, and lanterns all aglow while singing hee-hee-hee ha ho. It quite frankly sounds like a big old lie. But eventually, while exploring towards the middle of the island of Solstheim, through the dense, dark, and untamed snowy forests, we will come across a quaint little cottage in the woods up against the side of a hill. Outside there are lanterns all aglow. A plume of smoke is bellowing out of the chimney, meaning someone is home. And again, given Solstheim's hostile and unlivable conditions, finding something friendly and cute like this is almost almost like something from a fairy tale. But before you think it's too cute, if we just have a look over here, we will actually find a dead guy in the snow next to the cottage. This is a Khajiit named Menashe. Anyway, on his corpse we can find a common robe, Moonsugar, so we know we're close to the mark, and a scroll which is the Song of Uncle Sweetshare. And when we read it, it's actually an alchemy skill book, and will increase our alchemy skill. The Song of Uncle Sweetshare. Hee hee, ha ho, to the workshop he will go. My uncle's candy is so sweet, it's such a yummy winter's treat. When the sugar is warmed by the pale hearth light, the happiness spreads throughout the night. Hee hee, ha ho, to the workshop he will go. Uncle Sweetshare is coming near to spread his candy and his cheer. It's better than trinkets, games or toys, so say all the little girls and boys. Yeah boy. Hee hee, ha ho, to the workshop he will go. Candy, candy, he makes so much, Uncle Sweetshare has a magic touch. So it's back to the workshop in the snow with lovely lanterns all aglow. Hee hee ha ho, hee 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 ha ha ho. Just so you know, it's currently 12:30 AM on Christmas Day. So if any kid in the neighborhood hears this, they're probably going to think Santa Claus is actually flying around outside. But back to the Uncle Sweetshare investigation. So now we know it's on the outside of Uncle Sweetshare's workshop. I'm sure along with me, you are very curious to see what is inside. So let's head into Uncle Sweetshare's workshop.
Candy, candy, he makes so much. Uncle Sweetshare has a magic touch. So it's back to the workshop in the snow, with lovely lanterns all aglow. Hee hee, ha ho, hee hee hee, ha ha ho.
The man himself, Uncle Sweetshare. As we can see, scattered around his workshop are plenty of bowls filled with plenty of moonsugar, and there are also plenty of alchemical devices. Of course, pointing towards the idea that this is actually some kind of like meth lab, or in this case, a moonsugar lab. At least he's quite jolly and not hostile at all. So now let's speak to him. Hee hee ha ha, can it be a visitor in my workshop? How can I help you, sweet camel? I have candy treats to spare if you come in search of happiness. Oh, so you're here to ask about the Moonsugar Investigation? I see. Hee 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 hee. Candy treats. My candy treats are tasty, they are, and filled with special sugar and love. They bring happiness to everyone on Solstheim. That's what I do, you see. I give out my special sugary treats and spread happiness throughout the land. It's difficult work, but also very rewarding. Menashe certainly thought so. Ah, Menashe, the dear lad. Moonsugar Investigation. That Severia Gratius is so grumpy. Maybe I should visit her next. Because that's what I do, Camel. I visit the sad and miserable and spread all the happiness I can. It is the way of Uncle Sweetshare, you see. Now that Jeleen, there's a sad, sad boy. His true love has disappeared, don't you know? Very sad, very sad. That's why I sang to him, Camel. He needed something extra, something special. Sugar and song, it cures all. Uncle Sweetshare, that's me, you see, Uncle Sweetshare. Just like in the children's rhyme, when I found that old song, the lyrics moved me like nothing else in my life. I knew at that moment who I truly was, and what I was meant to do. So I had this workshop built. I make treats here, you see, delicious treats with the special sugar, moon sugar. Hee hee ha ha. Then I spread my cheer throughout the land, but it's all a secret. Shh. Now at this point, you can either spare him or kill him. Either way, for the quest, you'll be given, or you need to take the white Clovian helm, unique to Uncle Sweetshare. Of course, I'm going to spare him. Give you my helm? Stop sharing my sugar. Yeah, distressing, most distressing. But you will let me live. I do so love to live, Camel. Alright then, we have a deal. Here's my white helm, and you have my promise. I will not spread any more cheer. I will keep my candy all to myself. That won't be so bad, will it? Hee 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 ha ha ha. And then we'll ask him about Menashe. Menashe was my assistant. He helped me make my candy. He so loved his sugar, Menashe did. He loved it a little too much, I'm afraid. He died, you see. His sweet tooth got the better of him. I buried him just outside. We had a lovely little ceremony. The hawkers came and sung for him. They did. Hee hee hee. Ha 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 ha. If only this guy could berry as well as he can cook up some Moonsugar. Alright, so this guy's one of my favorite characters in the Elder Scrolls games. I just love the idea of, at the Imperial Fort where they have such strict rules, they can't even have alcohol in the Imperial Fort, and Solstheim's just covered in bandits and pirates, and things that want to kill everyone, and everything's so serious. And then there's this guy just running out of the forest going, hee hee hee, ha ha ho, lanterns all aglow in the snow. He's just sneaking Moonsugar into people's food and wine, and he's running around in his robe and giant white hat going, hee hee hee, back to the workshop I will go. And he just runs off back into the forest after spiking everyone's food with a pretty heavy illegal drug in the Elder Scrolls games, Moonsugar. I absolutely love the goofiness of this. Hee hee ho ho. And as goofy and funny as it is, we can see obvious parallels to the real-life Santa Claus. He's out in the snow in a workshop, he sings songs. Although they may not be toys, he does give gifts and treats to all the good little girls and boys of Fort Frostmoth. His robe and his helmet are as close to Santa Claus's clothing as Bethesda dared to go. And while he wears a white Colovian helmet, a unique one, in the game files there is actually a red Colovian fur helmet. Unfortunately, I think it was removed from the game before they actually got to skin it, so it is actually just the same as the standard Colovian fur helmet and it's just yellow instead of being red, although it is called the red fur Colovian helmet. But this does just go to show that they were going to make this guy even more like Santa Claus than he ended up being. And on top of this red fur helmet that never really came to be, Uncle Sweetshare was meant to be a Breton called Grandfather Frost, which is the Slavic name for Santa Claus. We can actually spawn him in-game. As you can see, he looks a little bit more like Santa Claus because he has a white beard, and of course that name is way closer to the mark than Uncle Sweetshare. But again, along with the red fur helmet, Bethesda felt it was far too close and too obviously Santa Claus, so they swapped them both out for the white fur helmet and for Uncle Sweetshare. So now let's talk about Uncle Sweetshare and where he came from, who he is. He is actually a Nord alchemist. But what's interesting is Moonsugar is a Khajiit drug. And to be honest, Solstheim is a pretty big leap from elsewhere, so finding a Moonsugar refinery out here in Solstheim in the snow. But what I find even more strange is that Uncle Moonsugar was the master alchemist, and the Khajiit, Menashe, was the apprentice alchemist, suggesting that Uncle Sweetshare was running the show. If it was the other way around, it would make a little bit more sense, as Menashe would be the one with the Moonsugar skills, as he is a Khajiit. So how a Nord came to have these skills, and better skills than a Khajiit, and then on top of that, where he even got the Khajiit apprentice from, as on Solstheim, Fort Frostmoth is like the real first settlement of kind of outsiders on Solstheim. So having this well-studied alchemist Nord and a Khajiit apprentice already established here before the Imperials got here and established a fortress, that's weird. Also very curiously, when we speak to Uncle Sweetshare about the topic of Uncle Sweetshare, he says, just like in the children's rhyme, when I found that old song, the lyrics moved me like nothing else in my life. I knew at that moment who I truly was and what I was meant to do. So I had this workshop built. So Uncle Sweetshare interpreted this old children's rhyme, which I assume was also called Uncle Sweetshare, and then decided to live that life. But then that begs the question, who was the original Uncle Sweetshare, or where did that nursery rhyme come from? I suppose we'll never know. A very strange case and a very curious one that I don't think is actually meant to make that much sense. But I must admit, a big old surprise dose of Moonsugar would be a very exciting Christmas gift. And I did go out of my way to come back to Solstheim in Skyrim and search the area where Uncle Sweetshare's workshop should have been, and sadly I could find no evidence of the remains of his workshop, let alone the workshop itself. So what happened to Uncle Sweetshare? Did he survive? Did he go on, spreading joy and jolliness with Moonsugar? What became of him? I do not know, but hopefully you guys and girls watching will have some very interesting theories as to where Uncle Sweetshare came from and what happened to him.
Hee hee! Ha-ho! To the workshop he will go. My uncle's candy is so sweet. It's such a yummy winter's treat. When the sugar is warmed by the pale hearth light, the happiness spreads throughout the night. Hee hee! Ha-ho! To the workshop he will go. Uncle Sweetshare is coming here to spread his candy and his cheer. It's better than trinkets, games, or toys, so say all the little girls and boys. Hee, ha-ho, to the workshop he will go. Candy, candy, he makes so much. Uncle Sweetshare has a magic touch. So it's back to the workshop in the snow, with lovely lanterns all aglow. Hee, ha-ho, hee, ha-ha-ho.
So I hope that you enjoyed this Christmas-themed Elder Scrolls Detective episode. I do wish you a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. Of course, be sure to leave any comments if you have any theories or things to add to this Uncle Sweetshare character. Also be sure to let me know of anything cool that you have found in any of the Elder Scrolls games that you think is worth investigating or just bringing into the light in one of these Elder Scrolls Detective videos. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like. One like equals one prayer for Menashe. Of course, share the jolliness of Christmas by sharing this video with your friends and family. If you'd like to see videos similar to this one, please consider subscribing. A link to my Twitter account can be found in the description. There of course will be a playlist on screen which is the Elder Scrolls Detectives playlist, so you can check out more videos there. And with that said, thank you very much for watching, thank you very much for supporting the channel all throughout this year. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas and I will see you very shortly in the next video. I'll see you there in a second.